for chatting with me today. I'm so excited to talk about the new EP that dropped on Friday. But before we do and get into all that, can you talk a little bit about your story and how you got into making music?
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to play in a lot of bands when I was younger. Eventually was kind of like floating all over the place musically for a bit. And in 2015, 2016, I think, like kind of through like a chance meeting through a friend of a friend, I got connected with a lo-fi record label called 1432R, and they do a bunch of cool vinyl press and Bandcamp sort of left field house music. And I kind of just fell into being their in-house mixer and like meeting a bunch of people through in the DC scene. And eventually I linked up with this guy named Roll Night Long, and he was starting a label called Chub Rub, and I did a track with
Love it.
him. And then since then, I've just been doing 35 millimeter stuff.
Love that. And here we are, flash forward to today. How did you come up with the name 35 millimeters?
So actually, when I was in college, I actually went to film school, and then over time, just kind of decided to give it up a little bit, but I
Sure.
still kind of have like a visual approach to a lot of things I do. So I kind of wanted to incorporate that into my name.
Absolutely. Very cool. I know that you have roots in DC and you've kind of relocated to LA now, which are both, very distinct cities. How would you say they have kind of influenced your sound?
So it's fun. I think that with DC, there's a big emphasis on a lot of different subcultures. And within that, you can kind of find a lot more of a gloomy, stark vibe. And if you think back to a lot of other acts from the DC area, a lot of, kind of, I guess the weight of the world kind of falls into DC music a lot, whether or not it's like dance music or like punk or anything like that. And I kind of appreciate that. I miss that a lot about DC. But with LA, I think that everything is very much, about trying to like get the crowd moving. It's always about the showmanship of everything. And I kind of like that. And I feel that I still try and keep a little bit of that heaviness from DC in my music, but I've definitely felt a lot more influence, getting more involved in the LA scene.
For sure. When did you make the move?
Honestly, I moved to SoCal about 2 years ago, and I
Okay.
moved up to LA about last year, I want to say, more or less.
Yeah. What would you say have been the biggest differences you've noticed between living in DC and LA?
Um, I think it's just the approach to going out, what I mean? I
Mhm.
think that there's always such an emphasis on, I guess secrecy with like some parties in DC, and like the East Coast and like New York, where it's just kind of like there are events where, you don't tell anybody. And in LA, it's more about just like, oh, everybody should come to this and like being as boisterous as possible.
That is such a good point. The East Coast loves the secret things, like the secret parties and secret bars. We really are all about that over here.
Oh
That's
yeah,
good
no,
to
I
know.
miss it a lot though. It's so much
Yeah.
fun. But
Have you ever been up to Maine? Well, you have.
actually, yeah, I know. When I was younger, I used to God, I'm blanking out the town called, but when I was a kid, I used to go up to Sebago Lake a lot.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Lovely. Well, Friday was the big day. Let's talk about it. Brand new EP is officially out. What was the process like putting this one together?
So it was kind of spur of the moment. So I met Jordan and Chris from Popgang kind of just again by chance, and I did one of their live stream shows back when quarantine was still kind of at the tail end. Um, and I just went through a bunch of IDs I had in my crate, and they were super blown away with pretty much all the stuff I played, and they really wanted to do some work with me. So overall, just it was a lot of back and forth and kind of growing a new friendship and partnership, and it kind of happened that way.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And as you kind of touched on, this was your first release with Popgang Records. What was it like working with them?
Oh, it was great. I mean, they're the nicest dudes. They definitely have a similar history with myself, as far as, really liking Bloghouse when we were, coming up in the scene and all this other stuff. So it was pretty much just we hit it off immediately.
Oh, great. I saw on Friday you got to kind of celebrate the release with, is it a cyber rodeo party that they do?
Oh yeah, no. So Cyber
Tell me.
Rodeo was an event they used to do in San Francisco, I believe, and
Uh-huh.
this is their first one in LA, and I'm sure this could be a bunch more just because it turned out to be like a really big success. Everything was packed, but it was a lot of fun. It was a nice combination of just a kind of Western theme with some over the top, just dress up. So it was a lot of fun.
Yes. Oh, I was reading about the parties and they sound like so much fun. And that's kind of cool that your release got to be the first one that they've done in LA.
I know. Yeah, no, I was super blessed to be able to do that.
Yes. What was the party like? Any good stories from it?
No, like crazy stories or anything like that, but it was definitely a great time. Everybody kind of went dressed to the nines, it was
Yes.
fantastic.
Love to see it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I read this is your 5th EP so far this year.
I
'Cause
think
that's
so. It's
a
hard for me.
lot.
I was busy during quarantine. I don't know,
Good
like
for
not too much else
you.
to do. Well, thank you.
Good for you. Well, with that being said, what are your plans for the rest of 2021?
So definitely going to be doing a lot more shows as things are now opening up. I have a few more tracks that I'm wrapping up now and a few collabs I'm working on, which are still kind of in early mid phases, but just keep on working and keep on getting out there.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned shows, so I got to know as far as performances goes, do you have a favorite performance that you've ever done?
Oh man, trying to think of one. It's hard to say, like let's
Yeah.
just say Cyber Rodeo for now, just because that was the most recent one. But honestly, there's a bunch of like I do like a good intimate show playing just among, like maybe 50 or 100 people, and keep it like super small and tight. And those are always the most fun. But Cyber Rodeo is a blast. It's just like a lot of like wild Western themes to it. So I enjoyed that.
It looked wicked fun just from afar. And maybe one of your favorite performances will be up here sometime. We got to get you up to Maine.
That would be fun.
Get you back to Sebago Lake. I'm sure they got something going on out there. I don't know what they do. But what I can tell you is here in Maine, our state motto is the way life should be. So I want to know, according to you, what is the way life should be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely think that it should just be very relaxed with a lot of nice moments sprinkled in between.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's all we can ask for, right? Life is too short.
Exactly.
Amazing. Well, so excited that the new EP is out and you've had 5 so far this year. So maybe we'll have another one to look forward to in 2021.
Definitely a few more coming out this year, but
Awesome.
everything's still very much in mid early stage, so can't talk too much.
That's fair. We'll look forward to it regardless, 35 millimeters. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me a little bit today.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Yay, until we meet again.
Absolutely.